As AI comes into our conversations online more and more, it is even more important and more of a differentiator for you to find your own unique voice, for you to find out what your unique value to humanity is. But it's going to take bravery and confidence in order for you to do that. My name is Kathy Zant, and welcome to the Zantastic Podcast. This is episode 1. In this podcast, we're going to talk about things that make you fantastic, things that give you confidence, things that are going to change your life if only you just believe in yourself. Now, of course, my last name is Zant. I was having a conversation a few years ago with someone, and I said, wow, that's fantastic. And they said, well, you're Zantastic. And I was like, I like that. Wine may have been involved. I registered a domain name, and I've been wanting to do this podcast ever since. I want to have conversations that empower you. Now, most of you who know me have known me in the WordPress and the security space. My motivation in that space, in the content I created there, was to empower you, to help you feel more secure. Because when you're more secure, you're more likely to take that leap of faith. You're more likely to do things that inspire you. WordPress, I think, is a great way for you to get started, but it's not the only way, and it's not the only medium. The written word is just a part of the entire thing. I want to talk about human potential, and in exploring my own potential over the last few years, going through a lot of scary things, challenging things, and downright strength-building things, I have learned a lot. But I'm not done. There is no done. There's always just the constant evolution of who you are. There is no past tense. It's just you, here, now. I talk to a number of people, and I have a number of people that I consult with about marketing, about brand building, about communicating your value, and about staying motivated. In all of those conversations, the one thing that comes up is confidence and belief in self. It's something that I've struggled with over my lifetime as well. When I've had great leaders like I have now who encouraged me to put myself out there, I can do it. When I've had other people who have challenged me or felt threatened by my voice or threatened by the things that I've said or threatened even by my success, it has affected me negatively. I've had to work through all of that, and I'm still not done. I will still be working through that, but I want to share some of these stories in sort of a vulnerable way so you know that you're not alone. Because a lot of times when you're working through issues that block you from really being in your flow, you are working through things that seem like it's just yours. And I want to give you the knowledge through conversations with other people, through my own experiences, to let you know that when you doubt yourself, you're not alone. We all doubt ourselves, and we all start playing games sometimes in order to not feel that doubt anymore that sometimes take us off of our path. The only true path is your authentic path. It is you fully expressing you. And I feel kind of hypocritical saying all of this because earlier this week I had a conversation with someone and I was like, well, let me just check my blog. And I went and logged in and I had over 40 different blog post drafts that I have in my WP admin that I have not published. My video editing software has numerous videos that I've recorded that I have not put out there. I record them. I write up all sorts of articles that I think might be helpful, and I don't click publish. So I have been challenged by a good friend, by one of my partners in crime, to click publish, to just do it, to just put my voice out there. And I was going to start just doing audio, but I just got my hair done yesterday. I was like, yeah, it looks kind of good. Maybe I'll just start with video. Why not? Why not just do it and see what happens? This is a passion project for me. I don't think that this is going to turn into anything, but maybe it will. I've seen a lot of people's first videos or first podcast episodes, and they're like, yeah, well, I'm just doing this because it's important to me and I feel compelled to do it. And then it turns into something major. You never know until you try. But let's talk about you. Let's talk about why you might want to set up a way for you to share your expertise and share your thoughts. Now, you probably probably don't feel like an expert in your field. A lot of people look at me and say, oh, well, Kathy is a security expert because I've spoken at numerous events and done tons of videos and podcasts where I've talked about security concepts. My YouTube channel is all about security. And so I'm the security expert, or so people say, but there are tons of people that I know who know way more than me. Tons of people who are in the trenches day in and day out looking at all sorts of security things. I was exposed to internet security back in the 1990s. I inherited a server from someone, and that server was supposedly set up by a technical expert, except that server was not set up in a secure way, and the server got hacked. So I was sent off to security school to learn all of these things. And so security's kind of just been baked into my life. I just assume we all need to be security aware. I never thought it was going to be one of these things that I would be an expert in. But here's the thing and how it applies to you. There are plenty of things that you know. There's plenty of things that you have had experiences with over the course of your lifetime that you don't feel like you are an expert at, but you're further along than someone else. Now, over the last year, exactly 1 year ago, a couple days ago, I joined a gym with my daughter. Now, she wanted to join the gym, and I was like, what do you need a gym for? Just go for a walk with the dogs. But they dragged me into weight training, and it has fundamentally changed my life. Am I 100% done? Have I reached all my fitness goals? Not at all. Does that mean I'm a failure? No, because I'm further along than a lot of other people. And there's some things that you are in process on that you are not an expert on, and you don't feel like an expert. You don't feel done, but you're further along than other people. And here's the thing, we've got AI coming in now, and AI is sort of becoming this place to go get information. On Thanksgiving, when it was time for me to cook my turkey, instead of Googling or searching for how to roast a turkey, I asked AI, and AI gave me exactly what to do, and it was one of the best turkeys I've ever roasted. Wasn't expecting that, but AI is going to be the expert on how to do things. But here's something AI will never have. It will never have my personality. It will never have your personality. It will never have, that prima facie experience. It will never have the uniqueness of a message and a voice that only humans have. Maybe it'll replicate that sometime, but it's just going to be a replica. I mean, I've played with AI tools. I have my own AI clone, and it's got all of the entirety of everything that I've published online over the course of 12 years, but it still is not me. You can ask questions of it, and it'll tell you facts about me. It might even relay an experience that I've had, but it still doesn't have that je ne sais quoi, that part of me that cannot be replicated, and it never will. As AI comes into our conversations online more and more, it is even more important and more of a differentiator for you to find your own unique voice, for you to find out what your unique value to humanity is. But it's going to take bravery and confidence in order for you to do that. It's going to take bravery and confidence for me to do that. But as we do that and we find our confidence and we just, do it anyway and know that it's never going to be perfect, and that's perfect in and of itself. In doing that, we break free of something and we find our true gift. I had a meditation recently when I was talking to my friend about all of these blog posts that I hadn't published and all of these podcasts that I've recorded on my phone and all of these videos I've recorded that are on my hard drive that I have not published. I am damming up the free flow of my energy by not doing that, by not clicking publish, because information and insight and inspiration comes in from a source beyond what we really understand. I have words for it. You have words for it. Whatever you want to call it God, call it your higher self. For me, I call it all that is, or my higher self. I feel like it's more a part of me and I'm a part of it, but that's another conversation altogether. But that comes in, that creative impulse and that creative energy comes in. And if you don't work with it, it's kind of like a river of water that comes in. And if you don't continue the flow out to where it is supposed to go, it ends up in a pool. And that pool, if it is not moving, what happens with water? That doesn't move. It stagnates and it becomes almost poisonous. It becomes almost toxic. If you are not in the flow of your life, you're going to start seeing signs. And I've got signs in my own life of how my energy ends up becoming blocked. The free flow of information kind of gets clogged. But here's the thing. There's something called the Creativity Faucet, and I'm not going to take credit for this. The Creativity Faucet, I will put that link into the show notes. I've talked about it before, but the idea is if you do not turn the faucet on and let the creativity flow, then that block is happening further upstream. Then you don't even have the stagnating water. You have to turn the spigot on and you have to let the creativity faucet run for a while. You have to make peace with it not being perfect. You have to make peace with it actually being bad. When I first started recording the Cadence Beat podcast with my friends over at Cadence, I let Ben and Hannah know that the first 10 episodes were not going to be great and to be comfortable with not being great. And I did all of these edits to make them sound as good as possible. I tightened that up and I took out anything that was a flub. They trusted me. They knew I was going to take care of them. When I edited it, when I published it, everything was going to be something that supported not only the brand as a whole, but their personal images as well. And as they got more and more comfortable, then we started moving to video. And you get that creativity faucet flowing, and the first things that come out are not going to be comfortable. It's almost like you turn on a faucet and like muddy water comes out. But if you let it run, if you let it keep flowing, keep on clicking publish, eventually you get this flow of information that's coming in, that inspiration that comes in. You work with it, you let it flow, you let it go out into the world, where then it just becomes something else. It becomes something that isn't even yours anymore. And it all just kind of works. Miracles start to happen in your life. Serendipity starts to happen. It's almost like Spirit is looking at you saying, oh my gosh, Kathy's finally listening. She's finally letting all of this creativity come in and she's letting it out into the world, and it just flows. You are in your flow. I am in my flow, and things just work. But they only work if you take that information in, you work with it, and you let it go out into the world. Something else about letting stuff go out into the world. Once you click publish, you have to make peace with the fact that whatever you've created is no longer yours. Now, I wrote a book 12 years ago. It was supposed to be a partnership with my husband, but long story. I'll tell it some other time. But we wrote a book. I wrote the book, and I put my name on it and said thank you to him for the domain and for the idea. But once it was published, I realized it was no longer mine. Every person who bought that book, every person who read it, it became their experience. Now, the book was based on a group of 500 people who came into, it was like a WordPress site with membership, and we had conversations around various topics associated with wealth. It's called The Wealth Diet. You can still get it on Amazon. I think it's on Kindle and maybe KDP. I don't even remember. I self-published it because I did the experiment, and then I'm like, wow, this is 30 chapters of a book. Let's just put it out there. And it's not perfect. But once it was published, I realized it wasn't mine anymore. I couldn't be the wealth diet lady. I couldn't even be Kathy, the author of this book. It's like a kid, right? Your kids, if you're a parent, you know that your kids, they go out into the world and they become their own people. And yes, they are still your kids, but I don't get to decide what my son's going to do with his life. Like, that's his. And Claire, well, I get to decide something still. She's still under 18, and so I get to decide on how she's going to live certain aspects of her life for right now. But once she's off into her own life, it is 110% up to her how she wants to live. If she wants to listen to my advice, that's great. But books and podcasts and videos and emails, anything that you create, once you create it, becomes the property of the person that is experiencing it. For example, think of the Mona Lisa. That Mona Lisa, so you go and see it in Paris, and you have an experience of it that is unique to you. It is not a predisposed experience. It is 100% yours. You can look at what other people are experiencing about it and maybe like learn about some of the intent behind the art, but it doesn't belong to the artist anymore. It belongs to everybody who looks at it, everybody who participates in the experience of that art. A song. Think about all of the songs that you listen to on a regular basis. An artist created that, but they don't stay with that creation forever. Madonna has been making music since the 1980s. She's not still, singing Material Girl forever. She's off making different music now, and she lets go of the past because the flow of her energy where it is right now is in a different place than where it was 30, 40 years ago. And that's okay. And that's the way it should be. And you are an artist, no matter where you are in the space of your life. There's something that you're creating. There's something that you're doing. There's something that you have some expertise in, and that experience that leads to that expertise is something that is unique to you, and the world needs to hear from you. Your voice matters. And the great thing is when you've got that flow of energy happening, you make connections. You find your people. Now, I know over the last 4 years, many of us have withheld our voices. When the pandemic all started, I was watching what was happening, and I had thoughts. I had experiences that mattered, but nobody wanted to hear it. People were getting canceled. You couldn't say what you wanted to say. And there was censorship happening on social media everywhere when it came to any conversations around the pandemic. Lots of voices have been silenced, and it's changing now. And information wants to be free. You know what it feels like when someone silences you, or when you have to be politically correct and say the right thing, or when something happens at work and you know it's not right and you want to say, hey, this shouldn't happen this way. What if we did this? And you can't say anything because somebody else feels threatened. It is the most stifling experience in the world. And we all do it. We've all been taught, to sit in our seats and to be on time for school. We have been trained to watch our voice, but that training does not serve you. That training doesn't serve you when you have connections to be made. Now, if you're listening to this and you are an entrepreneur, or maybe you're looking for a better job, maybe you're looking for more leads, you're looking for more clients, you're looking for more connections, you're looking for more friends. We're going to talk about that in episode number 2. Whatever you're looking for, your voice matters, and you have to put your voice out there in order to take the next step in your life. If you are like me and you have 40 blog posts that you haven't published and 100 podcast episodes you haven't published, and all of these thoughts that are stagnating in a pool, it is going to get heavy. And the only way that you're going to break free is to click publish. Just do it. So this is episode number 1 of me just doing it. I hope you found some inspiration for yourself. What expertise or experience do you have? I'm not an expert in taking care of a stroke patient, but I've done it for 3 years. So I'm further along than someone else whose family members may have just gone through a trauma like that. My voice and experience could help someone. What experience do you have that you've been doing for the past 3 years that could possibly help someone who is in need? And you're withholding your voice. You're not putting it out there. Let's click publish and let's do it together. Leave me a note in the comments wherever you are watching this. I'm going to try to publish in a different way. I'm experimenting because I have to. That's who I am. Let me know what expertise. Where is your voice blocked? Where is your experience and your expertise needed by the world? And where do you fear taking that first step, that first leap? I'm here with you, and I want to help you find your voice, find your confidence, and find your audience, and find your people and your connection. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm looking forward to more. Thanks.